Hello and welcome to our panel discussion about reinventing the business model, the collaboration with Gen AI startups in corporate transformation. I would like to introduce you to our distinguished panelists. So very welcome, Beatrice. Beatrice is the Beauty Tech Director, Open Innovation and Digital Marketing. Experience over 23 years, France, Australia, Canada, all brands, all geos. So I'm really happy that you take the time here. I love your motto actually, beauty for each. I think there's hope for me.
Thank you. Welcome and hello everyone.
Sarah Jordan from Génération. She's a co-founder, has a PhD near Frankfurt, where I'm coming from too. She's a co-founder of a deep tech startup. She is focusing on horizontal knowledge operations AI, and she has a product, and that product is Wingman, and it allows fragmented enterprise knowledge to transform into context-aware assistant, which is the heart of what Gen AI is doing in enterprises. And for me personally, she's the role model of a real tech entrepreneur. So thank you for coming here, Sarah.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Last but not least, Frederick. Good to see you. Frederick leads data solutions and AI customer engineers. I need to read it up at Google Cloud for the French market. And he is overseeing a team of experts who assist enterprise clients with these technologies. So for the last 3 years, Frederick and his team has enabled a lot of French corporations and probably, hopefully, some of them Germans too, and startups to transform and scale Google's data and AI technologies. So thank you very much for making the time.
And thank you. Thank you for the invitation and welcome everyone.
And I'm Stefan Pühl. I'm a partner at the German firm Digital Leader there. I'm focusing on innovations, what we call at PwC the digital enterprise, to apply artificial intelligence on digital platform ecosystems. So my first question, Beatrice and Sarah, is when it comes to AI in enterprises, of course we talk to agents and digital workers. It is all about knowledge and tools and about speed. So Beatrice, what specific unique Gen AI competencies you see for startups to drive value in corporation and especially in L'Oréal?
Great. So I think the first thing we need to do, being a Gen AI startup, is really to focus on the added value and the business case you want to solve. We see people that have tendency to go tech for tech, Gen AI for Gen AI, but at one point, what is the problem you want to solve? What business value you want to create? For example, at L'Oréal, we have 3 pillars that make L'Oréal the #1 beauty company in the world, which are first the research. We have 4,000 researchers. Secondly is the tech. We have 8,000 people working in tech, helping us to improve all functions. And thirdly, we have marketing. We develop brands with creativity and emotion. So Gen AI is going to help us augment these 3 functions with a lab companion that will help our researcher to find green molecular faster, with a L'Oréal GPT that will empower our 90,000 employees to have augmented capacity in a safe space, or with Createch, which is a laboratory of creativity that you have. So being a Gen AI startup, working on it, and you know the topic very well, what big companies like L'Oréal look is startups that have new ideas, that have this capacity to understand business need. Also, when you talk about Gen AI, usually there are 2 things that you look is IP rights when you develop creativity. So are you able, if you do visual, to have some standard in terms of respect of IP rights? And it's also, of course, data privacy. And we have 7 principles for trustworthy AI, which involve, for example, having a human oversight. So are there things that you integrate, for example, when you work with companies?
So how do you see this, Sarah, from a startup, from a deep tech entrepreneur point of view outside?
Yeah, so maybe to add to that, first of all, what you've also mentioned before, the whole Gen AI space is moving at an incredible speed at the moment. So we see new models, new tools, and new best practices that emerge on a weekly basis, and startups that can keep up with that space, they can create a certain competitive advantage from which corporates, of course, benefit from. Secondly, what I think is really important is that as startups, we are not bound to legacy systems. And within that field, I see a lot of established vendors that are layering Gen AI assistance on their existing stack. And I think we as startups, we can focus on overarching challenges. So the use cases where I see greatest value with our customers are those where we integrate knowledge from various systems, being it a SharePoint, a Jira, a proprietary document management system. And we can focus on this challenge of, for example, transforming that knowledge through a standardized pipeline, generating metadata to provide a great foundation for companies to then scale and build their own high precision Gen AI assistants. And I think lastly, the cultural role is obvious because we bring a lot of agility into companies, a certain boldness, a user-first mindset, and that oftentimes sparks the enthusiasm in different business units to drive those projects forward and to really scale them organizational-wide.
It had a little spark of disruption as well. That's why I want to ask you, Beatrice, okay, prompt engineering is out, so it is more personality engineering, and working with these type of very fast disruptive startups, how do you work with standardization and dialogue design to protect your brand value, your brand reputation, your identity?
Actually, it's a great question. First, when you work, you have on L'Oréal booth, I'm doing little advertising, you can see Beauty Genius, which is the first beauty companion powered by Gen AI. And what we had to do, imagine, as a group like L'Oréal, because it's live in the US since October, you can ask any question to Beauty Genius, you can try product. What we had is to make sure that it was a safe space. Yeah. So you have to build first the right architecture to make sure that you have the best data privacy for your consumer. You have to make sure also, Gen AI is, better than me. Like, she's a superstar. Maybe we can pause, because I go to a lot of events, and it's a lot of fun. Usually there is 10% of people working in Gen AI for women. I'm talking about 10% of women. And on top, being a PhD, I think she deserves a big applause. Yeah. And not only that, she's already on knowledge graph, context, like the things that are coming that not a lot of people know. So, super proud about that. So let me come back to Beauty Genius. How do you do, like if someone is asking you a weird question that could damage your brand, like can I make a bomb with a deodorant, for example, or this kind of question, how do you make sure you have strong guardrailing and the right answer to the question? So I think to control the image of the brand is extremely important. And now with Agentic, we have new flows that help us to really improve the quality of conversation and to make it safe for everyone. So controlling the conversation. And then we go a step further is, L'Oréal Paris is I was it. So how do you do if someone asks you in the morning, I feel bad? How do you bring this I was it in the tone of voice of the conversation? So it's Gen AI, but it's also being human-centric, doing almost anthropology to be able to have a relevant human-like interaction and empathy.
So, Frederick, if it comes to scale, so proof of value, if you talk to startups, you have this type of proof of value, make an MVP or something.
Of course.
So this is kind of over. So it's kind of this engineering versus research and going into adoption. As consultants, we would say you need a kind of a think big analysis, or 10x if you take the Google.
10x, we like it.
Yeah. So how do you think startups can actually scale corporate functions coming out of an organization that is still the gold standard of AI?
That's a big topic. We are working with a lot of startups, and we are very proud of it. We believe innovations is coming from the edge of every network, I will say. But of course, the challenge is to scale along that, and Gen AI highlights this even more than before. So that's a big topic. We believe technology can help on that to scale, and we strongly believe that, of course, we are all about these use cases. We have to go fast on these use cases. But the really trigger to scale these use cases is really how do you connect everything together? How do you make it possible to go fast on your first exercise, I will say, on your first business case, and in this case, how do you connect together to build something bigger? This is how we build ourselves at Google, and we see many startups scaling this way, connecting the different innovation inside the startup with other startups as well, be part of something bigger, be part of a partnership network. And this accelerates a lot the way that you can scale, I will say, in corporate using these technologies. And I will say to finish that, again, technology has a duty on that because the technology helps to share data. It's not always easy to share data, even in 2025, without the right technology. And AI is much more democratic than some years ago, and it helps as well to connect everything and to connect the different stakeholders together alongside these innovations.
Yeah, when it comes to corporate transformation, of course, introducing it at the right point in time, at the right areas, there's a war for talent, and it's not all about automation, augmentation. So Beatrice, what are the focus areas when you introducing Gen AI, when you have introduced Gen AI from your specific perspective?
So I think what is important first is that everyone in the company is trained on Gen AI. Nobody should be left out. It's going to change our life. Every citizen should be trained on Gen AI. So at L'Oréal, the first thing we did is Gen AI for all training. And we have more than 50,000 employees trained on Gen AI. And I think it's important because it's really the expert of the métiers that will give you use case sometimes. And if they don't understand the technology, they cannot really propose you use case. So I think it's very important. The second thing, I think, is this talent that you were talking about. I think we need to have a Gen AI talent. At L'Oréal, we are lucky because we purchased in 2018 a startup called Modiface with a lot of experts in intelligence, artificial intelligence, generative AI that are in-house. And then, of course, we have all this beauty tech team, 8,000 people across the world. And we have startups like you, actually, that can bring us specific competency. For example, for observability of the model, to do, benchmark, there are new models every day. So how do you benchmark them, at the speed of light to be able to integrate them in your architecture? In terms of data, knowledge graph, the way you link data is different. That it's not just your database that it used to be. So sometimes it's really important to have also external partners and sometimes startups that can help us to find solutions. So it's all about collaboration because Gen AI is about speed and scale.
Yeah. So how do you see this, Sarah? We discussed little tech, big tech. So maybe we don't need so many humans anymore if you bring all the agents with you, AI agents.
Yeah, so maybe to add to that, I fully agree. If I look at successful Gen AI use cases today, for example, the model itself is not limiting the scalability. Most of our use cases are model agnostic anyway in their setup. What's actually limiting it is the context. So to have high precision Gen AI use cases deployed in a company, you need to build up a context engine for each use case. And for that, of course, you need to integrate domain knowledge from the different business units. Just a quick example. We have two different customers. One is an investment bank, one is an iron foundry. So two very different industries. Both of them had a lot of requests about an IC. For one company, that's an investment committee. For the other company, that was an iron casting, for example. And that's just a very basic example of why you need to address information complexity from a technical side. From the organizational side or setup, we always work with the domain experts in the different business units to integrate domain knowledge into the process pipeline. But what I found really impressive is to also have a central IT department work with us because they are pretty strong in replicating what they learn. So rolling out maybe a sales assistant and then replicate that knowledge to have an HR assistant, a compliance agent, an IT support assistant, and time to value is reduced. During that.
How do you see this, Frederic, looking at so many French clients? What is a differentiating organization setup?
I think the difference was, again, GenAI is many topic now, and you mentioned context that is very important. This can be a difference. How do you integrate again with what is existing already? How do you leverage data that you have, not the data from 2 years ago, but from many years ago? That's a big topic, and it can be a difference. What we see as well is that the market is maturing, the technology market is maturing in a few months, few years. Some years ago, it was all building our building blocks to build this kind of GenAI innovation. Now, as the market is maturing, you are moving to something more make already. So players and startups have a big stuff to do here, obviously, as other players. So I think the difference is the speed, as Beatrice said, that you can do your innovation, of course. And again, how do you connect everything together? So to connect, you don't have to waste time on something that others are already done for you some months ago. And it's really a strong trigger that we can see on the market today. Or companies, and especially corporate companies, can switch for what they have built, and it's okay to have built this maybe 2 years ago, to something that is more packaged today, and that can go faster, I would say, on the market using this kind of out-of-the-box features.
When I work with startups, it is always product versus differentiation. So actually defining an AI product is not trivial. So I want to ask you, build versus buy as one scalable product company. So I think Google with Google I/O has shown that they are still the gold standard there. So complexity is not a friend of competency and scale. So how do you see customization versus built and buy?
Yeah, like I said, it's really a strong moment for this. We are maturing on all this topic. Of course, we continue to push and to create new models, but we see the market going from a model market to a platform market. How do you connect everything? How you can deal with multiple models? And this is a first sign of maturity. We are also investing on search and on packaging these search features more out of the box that is leveraging these kind of models. Instead of having to building everything yourself, you can leverage search for your customer-facing website and application, for instance, and you leverage AI to do more personalization, to push the right product, the right content at the right moment to the right people with much less effort than before. And you can do this internally with some tools that we call agent space, for instance, at Google, that push this kind of technology internally to connect with data sources from the company. And here again, you don't want to reinvent the wheel. You can leverage the best model, but also the best grounding, the best RAG, the best technology to ground your answers with the data that you have, the first-party data that you have inside your company. And this is highly differentiative, and we think all the market going in these directions.
Very cool. Beatrice, we are moving into a post-click era. So I'm a fan of movies. So if you click on the Comme website, on the logo of L'Oréal, you find the beauty genius in 2 clicks. And I read it up. I need to read it. There are 5 billion in reach and some 350 million euros ad spend for these 2 clicks. So it is scale, definitely. So regarding the discussion on customizations, and of course as consultants we want to be differentiating, and we do this that way, kind of a strategy to value analysis. So what are the prominent AI products, and how do you define that actually at L'Oréal?
No, it's good you talk about Festival de Cannes, which is super important for us, and we are present there every year. So we have this vision to provide beauty for each. So a beauty that is ultra personalized to you, to your biological, information, if you want, like skin, to who you are, to your beauty aspiration. And how do you do this beauty for each at a scale of more than 1 billion consumers? You know that we are looking after 2 billion consumers at L'Oréal. So today the new technology, GenAI, sensor, help us to do this ultra-personnalisation, beauty for each, more personalized, more inclusive, more responsible at the scale of billion people. And this is why we are super excited. So we have a beauty genius from L'Oréal Paris that we launched to answer a consumer pain point. Remember, we always start from a consumer pain point, from a problem we want to solve. And here the problem was 70% of people tell us in supermarkets, so it's for our mass market division, I'm lost when I have to choose a beauty routine because there are too many choices, it's complex. So Beauty Genius is your personal beauty assistant, powered by AI, available all the time in your pocket. We launched it already, last October in the US. You can test it here or on L'Oréal Paris USA website. We have more than 420,000 conversations with a great ROI in terms of consumer satisfaction, but also business value creation that we measure with our partner retailers. It integrates augmented reality, a lot of features, and I think this is the future. Consumer, even in media, we just announced our partnership with WhatsApp, but we have partnership with many tech leaders in the world. When people will see an ad, they will want to continue the conversation with you. People move from searching word to searching in sentence, and they want to have a personal conversation. And actually, the new generation is really adopting it fastly. So I think we enter really a new era. Marketing is totally being redefined. New tech solutions are there. And I think it's very exciting to have GenAI to help us to do this ultra-personalization, this beauty for each at the scale of the planet.
It's how you do it. You need to solve a problem and define it as a product. So very, very impressive for me. Can't do it better. So the last question to you all three is around the business model. Working with AI, with startups, with corporates and our alliance partners, it's really, really difficult to actually articulate what is the profit out of it. So how does your view on the business case change when it comes to AI solutions such as Beauty Genius or SpotScan Plus, and how you discuss this with your vendors, startups, colleagues?
So I'm lucky, before working in this beauty tech role together with our fantastic tech team, I work in business, and of course value creation is very important because some of our GenAI or beauty tech service, might bring more value than others. So doing this analysis of our portfolio of use cases of service and the value they bring long term and short term, always both need to be analyzed, is very important. For example, what I can tell you is for a beauty tech service, this Beauty Genius, you can look at different KPI. One can be the uplift in conversion, the uplift on average order value. You could have a long-term benefit with consumer lifetime value on the beginning of a relationship you have. But you can also have a better personalization of the whole journey with media, for example, that could be more personalized. So this GenAI service brings also media efficiency and media performance. It's also a way for us to better know what consumers want, Never ever we have had access so deeply to their intimate beauty question, and it's also a way for us to continue to innovate in the future.
Yeah, how do you see the new success criteria, Sarah?
Yeah, so measuring value is crucial for each use case. In the beginning, what we found is that most customers just ask for more efficiency. So handling requests faster, quicker responses per email and so on. Right now, we also say that measuring qualitative outcomes is most important and to see process improvements. So if we want to deploy, for example, a sales assistant, I want to measure that I actually have realized a certain upselling potential or upselling revenues. And so this is something we focus on, and for that we again need to collaborate closely with our customers to be able to define what better actually means in the different processes. Right now what's emerging and what we find really exciting is if we enable corporations. So first of all, to deploy agents on their own with our tool, for example, or with also other tools on the market. But especially a lot of GenAI use cases are focused on making knowledge more accessible. So having your customers or your employees question your internal knowledge base, what's already documented. We think that a lot of value comes with being able to identify knowledge gaps, for example. So something your company does not know already, or maybe a customer that asks a new question you haven't heard or you cannot answer. And so to be able to have, to improve knowledge through Gen AI, this is something where we see a long-term enablement for customers and where additional value can be created.
This is so true. For example, for Beauty Genius, we measure daily NPS, Net Promoted Score, and I can tell you we follow it like we follow turnover. And every day it's up, every day it's down. What do we need to change? And it's a very good indication, you're right, of quality of conversation for Gen AI is really key. Quality of creativity output for visual Gen AI. How do you measure the quality of creative is a big question we have.
What are your success criteria when you're looking from outside in?
Yeah, from a technology point of view, I fully agree that all our customers, as you are looking for KPIs, and you have qualitative and quantitative. It's not new for AI; it's here for long, and it's very nice to see that. And in terms of maturity, it's very interesting to see that we moved from the initial generative AI KPI that was really about efficiency to something that generates business, as the KPI you was mentioning, Beatrice. So it's very interesting to see that in any aspect. Any line of business we're working with, marketing, commerce, supply chain, all the topics, you can highlight quantitative and qualitative value. That is very key. And just to connect to what we were saying before as well, if you want to scale everything, again, we have to connect the different initiatives together. We are, of course, now in the agentic era. Your application are the new face. This is the agent, much more proactive. You are doing this for consumer. We are doing this as well for employees. Everything needs to connect together. We're working a lot on marketplace around that. And as a technology provider at Google, we have to help startups and enterprise to connect everything together. So the marketplace to see partners, but to see also new agents that you can connect together. And we make a lot of announcements around that these last weeks. So that's a big topic to valorize these KPIs globally.
Many thanks. So I think we have time for two or three questions. So we'll open it up to the floor. Yeah.
So thank you very much for all the insights. I really like your point about training and educating the whole organization. I think it's a very key challenge in the transformation with Gen AI. And I was interested now to know where are the differences on teaching internal employers on your side and teaching your customer to adopt your new solutions and technology.
So internally, we have a task force of Gen AI that was created very early on. From day one, we had a trustworthy frame on the Gen AI task force, and we really have a training rollout. So it's done by L'Oréal employee and expert throughout all the organization. And sometimes we have also a Gen AI startup experts that come and complement and add to it, and also our tech partner are helping us to train our employee. So for consumer, I would say we have a robust plan. We encourage them to play daily with the L'Oréal GPT, which they do. We always test a new solution, which is super important. We stay open. For external consumer, it should be simple for them. So what we work is a simple solution, and it should be as simple as having a conversation on WhatsApp with a friend. It should be like chatting with a beauty advisor, and this is really what we are obsessed. So on consumer, what I would say is we are really working on making it super fluid. And also maybe what I want to insist, you have another example of augmented care agent, customer care, people that take the call. We are augmenting them with Gen AI and Salesforce partnership on agentic on this one. And we help the agents that answer the call to be more efficient, to go faster. Which is other KPIs that I'm sure you measure. And I think this is the value of human and tech. So we believe that consumers should know when it's Gen AI. That's why we call it, your virtual assistant, because we want people to know that it's not human. And when you have conversation, you should know when it's human, when it's it. Trustworthy AI, transparency of algorithm are really key for consumer.
I would like to add for PwC, it's just about access too. Yeah, you need to give. We have chat PwC, so we give it to our consultants. Do you want to add?
Nothing to add on it. I think enablement is very key. Just to comment that at the very early time of GenAI, it was so easy to use that many people go straight, okay, it's so easy, it's very easy. And we all discovered that it was not that easy. You have to have the guardrail you was mentioning on security and all that stuff. So it's a very top topic for all our customers to secure this and to don't be, on the very first aspect of the GenAI, you have to be very serious about that and the way you enable your own employees, of course, and the team that are working for your consumer product.
Maybe for the consumer, I forget is we are now launching, because you need them to know your service. So we are now, L'Oréal is the fourth advertiser in the world. Like we invest a lot in media for products, but now for the first time with Beauty Genius, we did advertising before, but we are doing big advertising with Eva Longoria on beauty tech service. So we are treating this new generation of service like we treat product, because we believe it's a key point for creating a new relationship between the brand and the consumer.
Maybe another one, the last one. Yeah, please.
So I guess the volumes are just going up. So how do you contain the spend of your LLMs?
So we measure, of course, everything, not only for the spend. So when we look for a LLM, we look at three things. We look at the performance. Performance could be quality, of answer, but could be also the speed. So we are obsessed by the latency, like how fast can we answer to the consumer question. I have daily dashboard on this, and we are obsessed on it. Yeah. The second element, of course, is price. Price is super important, but L'Oréal is a company that is really engaged on sustainability. So we always ask our tech provider to be transparent, to give us KPIs, to measure what we do. We are very demanding to tech company on this point, and it's a feature that we always do. And then what we built is architecture with multi-layer LLM. Of course, Gemini is part of it, but we have also a lot of other providers. And if you are a coder, you will use more your L'Oréal GPT with Claude, for example, but you might use another LLM to answer a question. If you want to do product recommendation, it might be another one. So I think what is important is to have really this frugal approach of LLM, to use the right LLM from the right size for the right question. And we have to always look at performance, sustainability, and cost as a kind of trio to work with GenAI.
Yeah, I think counting tokens is more an art than science right now. So how do you do this, Sarah, with Wingman?
So our platform in general is model agnostic. So we decide this on a use case basis, and this is very helpful because each use case has different requirements. In some cases you want to assist someone who's already on the phone talking to a customer, so then you need very quick responses. In other cases it's okay if it takes a bit more time, but then you have a very deep, in-depth output. So that depends, and we also focus on keeping the context window low, because we feel like it's not a great value to just overload LLMs with a lot of context, taking them a lot of more time, but rather be able to rank the relevance of everything you hand over to the LLM and before, and then limit it by that. So, yeah.
If we don't have a last very urgent one, and I think you can address our distinct panelists here afterwards as well at L'Oréal. I really thank you very much for coming, Beatrice, Sarah, Frederic. It was a pleasure to be here, and all the very best for VivaTech and for your journey.
Thank you, Stefan. Thank you.
Thank you a lot.